70% in Japan want telecommuting to continue after pandemic, survey finds.
Here's a summary of the article.
A recent survey has found that 70.0% of respondents are in favor of telecommuting even after the coronavirus is contained, with many happy with the reduction in commuting. Those in favor comprise 24.8% who fully think telecommuting should be promoted after the pandemic and 45.2% who somewhat think so. Asked to describe good things about remote work, with multiple answers allowed, 68.2% said they have no stress from commuting and 50.6% said they can live in and work from places with cheaper housing costs. Being able to work even when caring for family members or others was mentioned by 47.7%, followed by less time spent on unproductive overtime by 42.4%, and better working environments for people with physical disabilities by 41.6%. Asked to describe problems with remote work, 71.9% said there is work that has to be done at office and 39.1% said the lack of workplace interaction may lead to reduced intimacy among colleagues. The nationwide survey by Gigi Press was conducted in May on 2,000 people 18 or older. Valid responses were received by 51.3%.
This post received a score of 67,000, with an upvote ratio of 95%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Unproductive overtime is really key here. In Japanese work culture, you often don't leave until the boss leaves, regardless of whether there's anything to do or not. Or then you're expected to go out drinking with your workmates until you're in danger of missing the last train. You can choose not to do either of those things, of course, but the cost in social capital is huge. Normalized telecommuting has massive ramifications for work culture at large, but in Japan it's a potential revolution.
At one point, I found this a salaryman working a ridiculously manual spreadsheet late into the night. I took a quick look over his shoulder and realized it could be automated, saving him hours every month end. Asked him about it a month later, and again got a no thanks. It took a while to figure out, but the work wasn't mentally taxing, but kept him busy in the eyes of his salaryman boss, which was the actual goal of the exercise.
This work culture is going to take a long time to die. Even with a shift to more flexible options, I don't see it going away for at least a decade or two.
Not disagreeing, but why do you see such a long-standing problem disappearing in the next decade or two?
Permanent cultural shifts are hard to be made permanent, especially in a place like Japan where rocking the boat is typically not encouraged, sometimes even actively discouraged. It'll happen, as to not get left behind by the rest of the world's workplace, but only with time.
It will happen with time doesn't explain why it hasn't happened yet, but will happen in the future. What is going to cause the change?
I'm not up, but I think the inverse population pyramid is going to get a hell lot worse in 10 years or so. There will therefore be a lot more immigrant workers who are far more inclined to leave at 6 since they are not bound by Japanese culture.
Most of their immigration is from other Asian countries and many of them poorer, so they don't exactly have Western work standards. I would also hope in the next few decades we learn to stop relying on this infinite population growth-based model of economic growth. Japan's population should also balance out after the older generations pass, which will dramatically help their economy as well as elderly care. Pensions is a big expense. It's also better off without relying on immigration in the way Western countries do.
Korean workers and Korean capitalists have their own toxic work culture. It's called pali pali, which means hurry, hurry in Korean. Here's an explanation of it from some LinkedIn influencer moron, and a slightly better article from an Indian writer, similar article from Medium that sums it up well. Korean capitalism and Korean work culture isn't perfect either, but it's very different from Japanese capitalism and work culture. So if they're employing Korean immigrants, which they already are, those are the employees that are going to be the most stubborn about not wasting time on things that don't make money.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.